Sorry, I just want to switch off the noise here. Hey, welcome to the channel here. And I don't really work on a particular subject for today because there's quite a lot of things sort of going through my mind, and it would definitely be a lot easier if people could sort of ask questions and that type of thing. But be that as it may, you know, our focus is recovery from substances from a faith-based perspective. So we want to get into a situation where people who are battling with addiction can come on here and can ask questions. And if they don't want to ask the questions, you'd see I just posted it. I'll post it again for you quickly. That is my email address, and you can send me an email, and I'll respond to your email and try and answer your questions as best I can. But on this particular platform, you'll be able to ask questions on the platform. So hopefully, we'll get some interaction, and people will be able to come on here and ask the questions they need to ask. So if you're here, just say howdy there on the chat, and hopefully, we can answer some of your questions as they come through. So welcome to everybody. And of course, if you're on the channel, we need you to do that. We need you to like, share, and subscribe so that we can grow this channel and we can get things going here. So, as I said, I'm pretty new to this, and I'm busy working on it and trying to improve it. And as we go, we'll, go more and more and more into it. So I'm just testing out all the new stuff, and just hoping that we can get this thing going. Just testing the chat and hoping that everything is functioning correctly. So as we go along, you'll see we're going to get better and better and better and better at what we're doing here. Where am I at this morning? I've got a lot of things going through my mind this morning in terms of the recovery processes here in South Africa and what we see going on in our own country, as well as in the world. And, to be fair with you, I don't think the political situation is making it any easier for those of us in this industry. We just, looking at the whole scenario and wondering, where we're going, where's the country going, what's going to happen in the future, and so on and so forth. So yesterday I posted a thing on Facebook, and let me just see if I can pull it up here for you guys, where I pretty much said that don't worry too much, try and keep calm. We've been through a lot of things in our lives, all of us. And we've survived everything up until now. So let me just scroll it up here so that you can all see. So you'll see there that I put that on yesterday. I'm hoping everyone can see this. So, that's pretty much it there. Remember what you went through to get here. Don't let anything you hear worry you. There's nothing you can't survive. If God is for you, who can be against you? And I really believe in that. You know, we get so hopeless at times. We really struggle to comprehend, you know, what we're doing and what the future looks like, and you know, where we're going in life. And I'm just here to tell you that, you know, there are some of us out here that will never give up doing what we're doing. You know, we often get to a mindset where we look at particularly the amount of people that really recover long term, and we start second guessing ourselves, I guess, you know, and you start wondering, you know, when you see not only the failure, but, you know, how badly people fail. You know, the Bible tells us that, you know, when you recovered and you're in recovery and God is working in your life, it says that, you know, the house is swept clean and the demons that were inside leave. But then it says, you know, they roam through dry and empty places and then return originally to the home that they were cast out of. And when they do retake up residence there, the state of the individual is even worse than before. And I can honestly tell you that that's the absolute truth. And when you see guys that you worked hard with and that you put input into and that you really struggled with, going out there and then coming back here, we've had two recently that have come back here, and you know, if I can get their permission at some point, I'll post their pictures of what they looked like when they got back here. It's a horror show. And you look at that and you go, you know, where's the sense? What's the sense in all of this? And, you know, you wonder what you're actually trying to accomplish here. But I want to tell you that I think in my own personal space, a lot of people, when I was going through my process in the early days, and, you know, repeatedly ending back in rehab and repeatedly ending, you know, upside down and back to front, you know, I think a lot of people also looked at me and went, bro, there's really no hope for this guy. You know, he doesn't learn. He doesn't learn from his issues. He doesn't learn from his mistakes. You know, he keeps going back to the same thing over and over again. And I think that that's pretty much where we get to at some point. You know, and we wonder, you know, can you really recover from this thing? You know, can you get better? You know, can you have the life that you hoped for? And I want to tell you, yes, that it's possible. It's absolutely possible. But the reality is, and it's so frustrating, this reality, particularly on social media, you know, I go onto a lot of these groups and pages and that, and I read the stuff there that people are advising each other to do, and it's actually quite shocking how little people know about what it takes to recover. You know, and then these same people are advising other people, and you know, you've got to understand something about addiction recovery. When you're advising someone on what course to take with their loved one or with themselves, you've got to understand something. Please understand this. If you're not in the theater of addiction recovery, you refer that person to someone who is a specialist and a professional, and hopefully, in my mind, someone who they themselves, as a specialist and an expert, has recovered themselves. You know, I'm not really too concerned about the methodologies and all this type of thing, but you know, you really need to get that person in touch with someone who has got the experience that is required to help them effectively. But to post some story on Facebook based on what you think you know, when really chances are you don't know much, you know, and you're just trying to help. But if you give the wrong advice, I want to tell you that you could end up harming someone. You really could. You know, that person could take your advice, that you thought was fantastic advice, but was actually very bad advice. Take that to heart, implement that incorrect advice, and it could lead to someone's death, you know. So the best advice you can really give someone is contact X, contact Y, contact so-and-so. Then the other thing is this. I don't even know if I should delve into this, you know, because people say, you know, I've got a chip on my shoulder. But that's fine, maybe I do. Stop sending people to places that are unlicensed and are not monitored and are running dubious and spurious recovery programs. This morning, I get an email. My daughter X, who was at X Recovery Center, left X Recovery Center with some guy that she met at X Recovery Center, and her and this guy have opened now a recovery center, and then sends me a wanted poster and says that this boyfriend is now currently wanted by the police, and that him and his daughter are using drugs as facilitators of rehabilitation programs while they've got residents there on the program. And the reason this kind of thing happens is because these people are not registered, they don't have the bona fides, they're not licensed, and they're not monitored, and they're not checked, and there's no credibility, and you paying them thousands and thousands of rand for your loved one to be there. And then you're shocked when these things go on. You're absolutely shocked. You can't understand what's going on. Do your homework. Do your homework. You know, these are the questions you should be asking. You know, and I'm so happy to see that the South African courts are doing a lot now of the validation of these centers before they will send people to these centers. The first thing is are they a bona fide registered either PTY limited business, an NPO, or a non-profit company, NPC? Are they registered? And, you know, are they licensed? Or phone the Department of Social Development and find out if this facility is licensed with them to operate as a treatment center. When you see that centers are receiving payment by medical aid, you can almost certainly be guaranteed that they are registered and licensed centers. And I can tell you that because the medical aids will not pay centers that they have not either visited or that they have not validated themselves. And the first thing they do is they check that this place is registered as a treatment facility in terms of the law of the country. Do that homework. I know that we are in a very tough economic situation in South Africa at the moment, and everybody is running around in terms of costs and prices for rehab centers to try and get the best value for money for the treatment that they think is the same across the board. It's not the same. It's not the same. Facilities like ours, yeah, we have to fulfill massive criteria in terms of the minimum norms and standards for treatment facilities as set up by the Act. Those programs have to be approved by the government and by mental health as evidence-based, accepted practice treatment modalities that we can implement here. Other centers that are not registered, they just, you know, do what they want. They put in whatever program they want, what they feel is right. And every person that's recovering from drugs, I was one of those people. I just want to say this. I was one of those people. They leave rehab and they just think that, you know, they're going to just replicate exactly what they saw. However, I didn't replicate anyone else's recovery program. I went and I looked for the most effective programs that I could find that benefited me and I'd seen benefiting other people in terms of faith-based recovery programs that were applicable. That's why we run the 12-step faith-based program here. That's why we run Truth About Drugs here. That's why we run Heart of Addiction here. That's why we run the programs that we run here. That's why we have occupational therapy and small work-based therapy. That's why we have sport. That's why we have a sauna. That's why we get involved in extramural activities, because these are all things that are added benefit to the recovery of an individual. And we put all those things in the document. And when the department came and they started evaluating us for registration, they wanted to see all this stuff. And we had to prove that these are effective programs. And that's one thing I can say about the Department of Social Development in terms of the positive side. They give you enormous credibility. And on top of that, your clients have a place that they can go if they don't get their complaints resolved by the facility themselves. They've got somewhere they can go and air their grievances. And the department will then immediately arrive here, bring the documents, and we will work through the entire debacle with them. And where necessary, bring the people in and we all work through it together. It is imperative that there's accountability for these treatment facilities. Imperative. Because without accountability, you're continually seeing what you're seeing on TV shows like Carte Blanche and such, where these things are happening in these facilities. Make sure the facility is registered. Let me just see what Ellen recently joined us again, or not that recently, it's almost a year ago. He's now volunteering here. Let me see, good afternoon, PD, greetings to everyone. How's it, Ellen? Yeah, if you have anything that you think I should mention, just type it up here, boy, and we'll check it out. It's exciting times. We can now use this platform to understand addiction and to get sound advice in the way forward on how to deal with addiction. Yeah, so the good news is that, Ellen has also had quite a walk. Hopefully, what I'm going to be doing in the future, I'm just waiting for all the equipment to get you. And if you have any kind of equipment that we can use, please feel free to donate it to us. Microphones, headphones, these types of things, podcasting equipment that we can use here. Because ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to be bringing people in here that we can interview, and they can tell you their story, and you can get deeper insight into the mindset of addiction. I want to get some family members in here and speak to them about their process and what they went through with an addict, and how they, particularly people that have been recovered for quite some time, and speak to those families and those parents to find out, what worked for them, so that you can get the help that you need from people that have been through it and have found a level of success through what we're doing here, and ultimately through what they did in order to find that success. So yeah, that's it, and this morning I'm going to touch on this morning's devotion here, which I'll do most Mondays. With this whole political thing that's going on now with South Africa and expropriation and all of that, I'm absolutely flabbergasted. I was saying to the guys this morning at what people are writing in comments in terms of, what they're expecting to happen, and I was saying to my guys this morning, a lot of people that I see on these videos and that on YouTube and on social media, Facebook and so on, seem to be thinking that somehow they are going to just get things for free, and I said to them, this is very similar to many of you guys sitting here. You think that everything's just going to come for free. You're not. I want to say this. Let me start it here. I want to say something that I've encountered in my own life, primarily. Not primarily, but as a part of my recovery process. And what I see here, walking with winners, and what I'm seeing, on a lot of these posts, really are really interlinked in mindset. in that people just simply do not want to do the work that is required to achieve and accumulate what other people have achieved and accumulated. It's mind-boggling. I see it even with families of people here on the program. People come here, they drop little Johnny off, and they pay their monthly fee, and then the guy comes out and goes straight back into the same toxic home, goes back into the same toxic scenarios, starts going back to the same toxic friends, and people are shocked that, this person is relapsed. They think that, a lot of people think that the rehab is like a washing machine for dirty clothes, except for people. That you just drop the person off there, chuck them in the laundromat, and simsalabim, Pastor Dave, particularly Christian people think you're just going to pray for deliverance and all the demons are going to come out, and then this person is going to be somehow miraculously cured from their addiction with absolutely no effort and absolutely no work from themselves or their families. And it's shocking to me. It's shocking to me that people believe this. You've got to understand that in terms of addiction, and particularly in terms of the recovery of the person, that this is going to be a united and combined fight in order to attain the goal of long-term sobriety and recovery. And please God, faith in God, because ultimately that is where we attack this thing from a spiritual perspective, to build a spiritual foundation. But once the foundation is built, you've got to build the building. You've got to put the walls, you've got to put the windows, you've got to put the branding, you've got to put the tiles, you've got to put in the plastic, you've got to put in the geysers, the finishes, the taps, the this, the that. And all of this takes work. And you need a group of people to build a house. You need plumbers, you need bricklayers, you need electricians, you need all these types of people to complete building the house. And it's the same in recovery. You can't expect a guy who's been smoking crystal meth for the last 5, 10, 15, whatever amount of years, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to come into rehab, washing machine, boing, popped out, and now he's recovered, and all the birds are singing and life is great. It doesn't work like that. It simply doesn't work like that. The process works from intervention to primary care, to secondary care, to sober living, home. That's how it works. The person learns the tools in primary care. In secondary care, which is what we do on our second 6 months, they become leaders here, volunteers. Then they learn how to apply the tools in an accountable environment. Then they move to sober living, halfway house scenario, where they start looking for work, completing their studies while still being accountable, and learning how to live in their sobriety while we still keep the toxicity of the outside world to a certain extent away from them. We slowly reintegrate them and reintroduce them into basic things that you take for granted, social media. To have a phone, let me tell you something. If I must tell you the amount of people that the second we give them a phone, they go completely crazy. They go completely crazy, and they don't understand what the situation is. We keep the phones away so that toxic people cannot reach them, and so that they cannot reach out. I don't know what's going on here. All right, we're having a little issue here with the internet. So if I do lose you, then we'll call it a day for today. But you've got to understand that this is a family issue. You've got to be able to, as a family, attack this problem within your household. And if you don't all get involved, your chances of success are going to be very low. My failures, I can tell you 100%. I had faith in God. I had work ethic. I had all these things. I come from a broken home, but not a toxic home. My parents, my grandparents, all were working people. My grandparents had issues with alcohol and that, but very, very, very middle class type professional people. And I was this black sheep of the family, if you will. But I went to rehab four times, actually five, 5 times. Actually 6 times. I went 6 times. I went to the same place 4 times. I went to a secular 5-star luxury rehab once, and then I went to another faith-based program for the last time, and that's the last time I went to rehab. But the difference was this, is that when I came out of my last recovery center, I had the correct and informed support of my wife, who, while I was away, went and sought out help for herself and got the help she needed to understand what she was taking on when I came out of rehab. And that support, as we gradually, I also went through a sober living facility, except I was locked in my own house for almost a year. And so we went through this process. I went to outpatient support groups and so on, to slowly reintegrate myself with the constant support of my wife, who was taking instruction from solid addiction professionals and experts in the community and following their places. People like Tough Love, Reach, these types of people that were supporting her. And we received and we got our result 16 years later. Have there been pitfalls along the way? Yes, there have been. Thank God, not major, minor ones, but if it was major, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you. But the correct support in those incidences also, my own knowledge combined with my wife's knowledge, combined with help from people on the outside, other pastors, other addiction treatment specialists that, were advising and assisting, brought us to the situation we are today. But you've got to understand, it's a family issue. There's no shortcuts. To go back to the money side of things, in Afrikaans they say goedkoop is duurkoop. And we try and find a middle ground where, we can offer the best possible help for the lowest possible price. But let me tell you something, with the cost of goods and fuel and electricity and all these types of things, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to keep the cost as low as possible. If you're looking at a treatment facility and the only thing that's motivating you is the cost involved, then you find a place for 500 Rand a month. Well, you're going to get 500 Rand a month's worth of treatment from that place. You can't feed a person for 500 Rand a month. You at home cannot feed a person for 500 Rand a month. So what are you going to get for 500 Rand in terms of program, housing, therapists, counselors, this, that, social workers, medical, blah, blah, blah. What do you think you're going to get for 500 Rand a month? And another thing that really, really you need to start figuring out is, I know a lot of people are in a desperate need. But if you cannot support yourself, how do you expect rehab centers to support your children? If you are battling to have money, where must the rehab centers, like us, we get zero funding from government. We get zero funding from corporate. The only place we get some money is from medical aids, and then we take a 28-day medical aid payment that is for 28 days, and we keep people there for up to 6 months, depending on what the medical aid is prepared to pay for that individual for 28 days. It's lose, lose, lose all the way. And people just don't seem to understand, how difficult it is. We are trying to target people that are already in the depths of addiction. And we're trying to stretch it and help people as best we can. So when you do your research, a very good place, Google reviews. But once you found a Google review with a number of good reviews, still go and check that these people are registered. Hi, Nandi. Okay, yeah, so to answer your question there, if you know, let's go this route. If you really are interested in someone's recovery, that you are paying X amount of thousands for their process, you know, what would you do to make sure that you don't need to go through this whole process again? And very important fact is that you as the family need yourself to get educated as to what is expected of you when this person comes out of treatment. It is, in my view, vital for family members to join support groups. And it's vital. There's some really good ones out there. We've got Reach out in Boksburg. We've got Tough Love in the north. And I know there's one here in Alberton that a lot of people go to. Heal Ministries in Alberton, which is an excellent place for families to go and get the support they need. Most of the people there are in recovery themselves, and the families that are there are people who are also trying to find answers for the issue, and those people are, in my view, the best equipped to give you the help that you need. So I hope that answers people's questions. All right, so I'm going to call it here. I don't want to carry on for hours and hours. I think I've pretty much covered a few things that were on my heart. I didn't cover this. So what I said to the guys in devotion is if you're not prepared to step out of your laziness, take drugs, chill out. Take drugs, chill out. Take drugs, chill out. You know, these guys, in my experience, the types of guys we deal with, just don't understand that, you know, in order to get to a result, there is a whole list of processes that you have to get through, which involve exceptional amounts of work. And if you're coming from a background of addiction, you are starting at a deficit. Where people started on the starting line and started running to complete the marathon, you ran in the opposite direction. You ran in completely the opposite direction, looking for some kind of a shortcut to get to where they're going to get running the marathon. Now you found out that the shortcut has brought you all the way back around. You only get into the start line, and those people are a quarter, 3/4 of the way down in the race. They've achieved many things. They've gotten to the 10K mark, the 20K mark, the 30K mark, and here you are at the 0 mark, and you can't understand why they're receiving the benefits of getting to the 30, 35 kilometer mark, and you're not getting them. But now you want to get to the 35 kilometer mark without running the 35 kilometers. You're going to have to run the 35 kilometers. And if you want to catch them up, you're going to have to run it in double the speed. So you need twice as much energy. And this is what the guys don't do. They themselves are in a mindset that they're going to come to rehab. We're going to talk to them. We're going to pray for them. We're going to bring the message. And somehow just hearing it is going to get them to the result without doing any kind of work themselves. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You have to do the work, brother. You have to do the work. And before you even do the work, and maybe this is what I'll discuss next time, you first have to come to the realization that you have a problem. I said to the guys this morning, you don't walk through the gates of this establishment or any establishment because things are going well. What? You don't come to recovery or into a treatment and submit yourself for treatment because things are hunky-dory on the outside and you're this massive success. You've booked in because you've got a major problem. Now you need to solve the problem. We will show you how to solve the problem, but you have to solve the problem. God will intervene. God will give you the strength, the power, the spiritual grounding to do what you need to do. But you have to walk the walk of life, as they say in Narcotics Anonymous. you will have to live life on life's terms. And one of those terms is, hey, my name's Dave, I'm an addict. I'm Dave, I'm an addict. And I've got to accept that. And the choices that I make in my life have to be met with that understanding. I'm an addict. Well, does that mean I can't go to these jewels anymore? Well, brother, you do the maths. You're an addict. At the jewels and the parties, a jewel, for those of anyone that ever watches this from overseas, is a party, okay? South African terminology for a party. So if you are going to a party, and you go there, what can you expect to find there? Can you expect to find promiscuity there? Can you expect to find alcohol there? Is there a high likelihood of finding people using drugs there? Okay, and then you look at those three things and you go, well, what was my problem? Well, promiscuity, alcohol, and drugs. Then make the decision. Make the decision. Should you be there or should you not be there? And if you choose that you'd rather be there and you find yourself back in the dismal hole that you were in prior, then understand that you made that decision. But if you want to continue moving forward with your life and you know, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm an addict, then maybe it's not the best place to go to. Okay, Ellen just asked, what sort of boundaries should a parent or family member set up whilst the loved one is in treatment? Okay, so what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to do an entire live on that one. So Ellen, just mark that down, and I'll do an entire live on that one. That's a very, very good question, but it's a very long answer. So that'll take me an entire show to do. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to call it today. It's already 40 minutes. I didn't want to go that long. And let's see if this thing grows. I hope it does. And let's see where we go with it. But even if it doesn't grow, I'm still going to be on here. And I'm going to help, even if I can help one person per show, that's enough for me. And that's it, And always remember that God has brought you here for a reason. Not to Walking with Winners, to this show. God has brought you to this show for a reason. God wants to try and show you something and tell you something. And God is in it for you. There's no coincidences and there's no accidents. You came across us for a reason. Amen. God bless you all and have a great day further. Cheers all. Bye.